Welcome to Spirituality Step by Step. I'm Dan Wigner, and I want to talk to you today about some different spiritual practices. As you can see from the website here, there is a spiritual practices button in the top menu. There is also a link to it down here in the featured content. And I'm going to always keep spiritual practices here because that's really central to what I believe is important to build one's spirituality step by step. Okay, in spiritual practices, several are listed here. The first one I want to talk to you about today is the first one listed there, centering prayer. I like to talk about this one first because it really is foundational for me. It's the basis of other spiritual practices that I like to incorporate into my own spiritual journey. And I do encourage you very much to experiment with many of these different practices listed here or in my book on spiritual practices, which is called Just Begin, a source book on spiritual practices. But find your own mix. This one might work for you, might not. But what I would like to get for you here is enough information to get started practicing, experimenting, and finding out if it fits you. So, centering prayer is in many ways designed for someone who's much more used to prayer and not really meditation. Maybe you've tried something like meditation, you've tried to empty your mind, tried to clear your thoughts, and then you just thought all the more. It's also a way to, instead of continually making prayer about talking to God, to bring in the listening side of prayer. It was designed as a specific method. It's a distillation of actually a lot of different aspects of the Christian spiritual life over millennia, but it was actually distilled into a simple method fairly recently in the 1970s and 80s by two monks, Father Thomas Keating and Basil Pennington. And in their description of method, they were often looking for something that could be seen as an alternative directly to what was very popular at the time and still around today is transcendental meditation. So in a lot of ways, it's similar to that kind of practice, but we're going to look at it from the centering prayer as a method in and of itself today. Okay. The bottom line, the brass tacks version, is what you're going to do is incorporate a period of time. I recommend at least 5 minutes, but it could be 20 minutes, it could be longer. The original description of it by Fathers Keating and Pennington was a 20-minute period twice a day. Now, you don't necessarily have to do it only according to that system, but that's how they designed it. And what you're going to do is find a place where you can be relatively free from distraction and that you can maintain a certain level of quiet. So, if you have small children or a busy job, this might take a little bit of planning on your part. There have been some times where the only place that I could find the necessary quiet was parked in a parking lot in my car. So it definitely can sometimes take some planning just to find a little bit of quiet in the day. Once you've found that quiet, what you want to do is you want to choose a word or a phrase, but not more than 2 or 3 words at the very most, that encapsulates your intention to seek God. Now, the word might be God, might be love, might be hope, might be faith, lots of words that could encapsulate your intention to seek God in that time. Now, after when you have that word, and I would recommend do not change that word during the time that you're sitting there, but definitely you could evaluate, different words. I've used different words. I tend to kind of gravitate back toward the same words, but experiment and practice on your own. Then you want to sit comfortably with eyes closed. You can breathe slowly in and out. Maybe a short prayer to get you started, like the one listed on the website there is, "For God alone, my soul in silence waits. Surely my hope is in him." And then you want to just sit there, eyes closed, breathing gently in and out for as long of a period of time as you've set. I do recommend at least 5 minutes, but I do think the 20 minutes that was originally proposed is a really good amount of time as well. It might be something you want to work up to if sitting still is a difficulty for you. At the end of the prayer period, you might either on your phone or an alarm or some kind of way indicate, hopefully with a very gentle tone, that time is ended. And you might even end that prayer time with a slow recitation of the Lord's Prayer, something to kind of just bring you back to your normal place in life. Now, one thing, and I would encourage you to also go to the website, take a look at this page on your own as well. I would recommend a little bit in the way of thinking is you're not trying to necessarily empty your thoughts. It's when you find that you're not thinking about your intention to seek God, use that word to just kind of gently nudge back. So sometimes you might be saying that word either out loud or quietly to yourself. Often there might be others where there's minutes between each time. You're not really trying to make a mantra out of that word. You're just, when you've noticed your mind is strayed, try to bring it back. And if your mind has strayed, that's not a failure. You're learning to build some quiet in your day to listen to God. And really the benefit of that, you're not going to necessarily see in that time. It'll be the quiet and calm you take with you outside of that time that will show it to you. Now, that's the basic thing. That's all you need to know to get started. Now, you may have many questions. If you do, please, in the comments section, put them down. I love answering questions directly. If enough people ask the same question, I may record a video that specifically deals with that issue. But let's just begin with centering prayer.